Hi, everybody. It's CBF Coach Libby. I've been a little missing in action lately with the holidays. I have two young kids, so we really took time to make sure we spent quality time with the kids, and especially with the 2-year-old because she has um, really loving, really loving Christmas this year and understanding tons of things about Santa and presents, especially presents. um, but I was jumping on today because it is Christmas, or not Christmas Eve, it's New Year's Eve. And I wanted to give you guys some tips to start the New Year's. My profession by trade is a professional organizer. My company is Organize It, and I do presentations all the time on how to organize your business, how to organize your home, how to organize your life and your time. So I thought I would give you guys one of my presentations on really time management, how to organize your time, especially going into the new year. I feel like 2021 is going to be absolutely amazing for the cleaning industry. Right now, we are booming at Organize It and Sweeps by Organize It. We have grown, tremendously. It's just crazy to think of how much we've grown. But I really want to teach you guys some tips on how to get the most out of your time and really manage that time well. If you guys have any questions, just let me know. I will try to answer them. I'm just trying to make sure that I'm live also on Facebook so I can see those questions and answer them. Get the most out of your time. You can hear me. Okay, hi everybody. I see Lisa's on and Anita. So I want to teach you guys some tips on how to organize your time. And, we want to keep it simple. We don't want to overthink things. So one of the biggest New Year's resolutions is we have 3 things. Everyone is always looking to fix in their lives as a New Year's resolution. One is to lose weight. The second is to fix your credit. And the third is to get organized, like to organize your time. Everyone's like, oh, I'm going to get organized this year. It's like one of the most popular things. So in our company, we're booming. January and February is just absolutely insane for us because it's one of the biggest New Year's resolutions that people make, one of the 3 top. So in thinking of time, so it's really hard to manage and organize something that you cannot see. And that is why time is so hard to manage. We can't see it, right? And it keeps going. It never, it doesn't slow down just because we're not ready or prepared. It just keeps on moving. And it's the one thing that we can't get back and that we can't make more of. And so that's why time is so hard to organize. It's because we can't see it, we can't touch it, and we can't feel it. It's not an object. So if we think of time, think of time as a bookcase, right? And some people's bookcases are super tidy, super organized by color, or they're organized by category, or some people's bookcases are super messy. So what does your bookcase look like? Can you guys put in the comments, is your bookcase tidy? And if it is, how do you organize your real bookcase, right? We're talking about real bookcases right now, because we're trying to use an analogy that everyone can relate to. So obviously my bookcase is tidy. Actually, I have 2 books here that I'm reading right now. I'm rereading Traction and listening to the audio at the same time. And I'm actually having my entire team read Delivering Happiness, my entire staff and my field managers. And I'm actually paying them to read a chapter a week. And then we talk about it every Thursday. So, what does your bookcase look like and how do you organize it? So do you organize your bookcase by size of the book, by category of the book? So those are just some things to think about. So then we go to think about how we organize our time. It would be the same concept. So it'd be the same concept. So everybody's bookcase looks a little different. So many bookcases are limited by the width and the number of shelves it has and how many books it can hold. So you want to think of your time like this. When the space is filled with books, both big and small, no more fit. Put new books on the shelf. Old ones must be discarded. So we want to think of time in the same way. I know that sounds weird, but if we have things that are taking up our time that no longer mean much to us, a great example would be maybe old networking groups that we're in and we kind of outgrown them. So let's take that one off the shelf and fill it with another one. Or committing to, if we all have kids, we commit to certain things in the schools like PTA meetings or bake sales or fundraisers. Those take up our time. So we have to make sure whatever we're filling our time bookcase with, it's super important to us, because every time we take on a new task, we want to make sure that we have to discard an old one. Otherwise, we're going to overfill our bookcase and we're going to become so overwhelmed that it's going to feel like we're drowning, right? So just remember, just think of it like a bookcase. You only have so much time and so much space. So you want to make sure you're filling it with things that are meaningful, that fit your life. And when you add a new one, you want to discard an old one. And I know it's a weird analogy, but I'm trying to show you a visual of it. And that's why so many people struggle with time, is because it's not a visual thing. We can't see it, touch it, or smell it. So like the bookshelf, time is not infinite and can only hold a certain number of activities. If your time is full, and most of us feel ours is, we need to discard activities to make room for new ones. So bringing in the new year, we really want to think about this. I am actually working on my 2021 goals. I'm going to sit down with my husband. That's how we're going to bring in the new year. We're going to work on some of our 2021 goals. But if I'm taking on new goals or new activities, that means I have to discard old ones. You can't keep taking on new and not get rid of anything that's old. And that's what sometimes we struggle with, is because as moms or parents, we have a hard time saying no, a hard time. And there's this really good book that my husband bought me because it's a spinoff of the Marie Kondo book. And it's the magic art of not giving a F word. And it teaches you how to say no. It was actually a really funny book. It was a really good read. If you like the Marie Kondo book, you would like that one. So I'm going to give you 10 tips that can change I gave this in a B&I presentation. That's why it says B&I, work and home life. So these are just 10 really great tips, 10 easy tips. We always want to keep it simple, right? The KISS analogy, keep it simple, right? And this is one of my favorite ones. And my husband asks me all this, or he asks me this all the time. He's like, how do you get so much done in the day? And it's because I have a secret to how I organize my schedule, but I can accomplish more in one day than most people can in a week. And that's how I have a cleaning business, an organizing business, a CBF coach. I own We Recruit with Paul. I own a nonprofit boys organization, basketball team. Not to mention we have 3 kids, a wife, and all that other stuff that goes with it. But I managed to really focus on each one of those individually and never neglect any of those, but it's how I organize my time. So this is one of my favorite statements, is don't mistake movement for achievement. I see so many people rushing around and just doing stuff, but what is it accomplishing? It's the 80-20 rule, right? We want to make sure whatever we're doing is really going to accomplish 80%. We really want it to accomplish that ultimate goal. So don't mistake movement for achievement. You probably know many people around you who are just busy being busy, right? But they're not really getting much done. We might have some of these people in our office right? They're working all day, and then at the end of the day, you're like, what did they do? Or we know someone in our family like that, or maybe we're doing it. We're guilty of it. I used to do this, and out of learning better habits, I am much better at organizing my time and taking many organizing classes to help my organizing business when I first started. Taught me so many great rituals and routines. So this is one of my favorite. Again, don't mistake movement for achievement. Just because you're busy doesn't mean you're actually achieving anything. And if you feel like this is you, feel free to shoot me a private message saying, hey, Libby, like, I feel like I'm just going in circles and I'm not ever accomplishing anything, or I never see the end result. I think Dawn is on here. I had a 5-minute conversation with Dawn, and she fixed something. Like, she's like, oh my gosh, thank you. Right after I talked to you, like, I got applicants coming in. Because sometimes we're busy being busy and we don't see certain things because it's like we have blinders on it. It's the exact same thing when we send a cleaner in to clean a house, and then we send an inspector and someone to do a walkthrough, and it's a different set of eyes. So we're going to catch, those things that maybe you didn't see. I'm just reading some of the comments. Amanda says, I think I do this. And it's a hard habit to break. And, it's really analyzing what you're doing. I am a huge list fan. Like, so you're going to laugh at me. So I have this old time notebook, like, and you're going to see all my list and all my mark throughs. But like, I am like a huge list fan. I have lists for days. And it's just a cheap 34-cent notebook from the store. But I mean, I have a list in the front, I have a list in the back. Why? Because I can look at the thoughts, or not look, I can write the thoughts down so that I can look at them, and taking them out of your head and putting them on paper, make them real, right? They take them from a thought and you turn them into an actual activity or a to-do. And I like writing them down because some of them they don't have to be done. They're not important. You think they're important, but when you write them down in a list, you can go through that list and actually cross out the ones, and say, you know what? This one actually don't need to do it. The next one is more important. Again, the 80-20 rule. So be in the now. And that's why you guys haven't seen me in like a week or so, because I was being in the now with my family and my kids for Christmas. I didn't really even look at my phone very much. And, but that's the best part of, being in the now. So wherever you are, be there. Don't be somewhere else. Super hard with phones and social media and text and emails. Be there. Don't be somewhere else. You don't want to miss what's going on, whether that's a family event or a class that you're in or working on your cleaning company. Be in the now. Don't start your business until you get to the business. That's a big one. So that means when you wake up to take a shower, don't check your email, take a shower or eat breakfast or have a coffee. And then start on your business when you get to your business. If you need to start working on your business at 8 and you wake up at 7:30, that doesn't work. You might have to wake up earlier. Maybe you need to wake up at 6 so that you can, do what you need to do first before the business day starts. So again, it's just planning and organizing your time. Don't start your work day at the breakfast table. That's a big one. And that's hard. I mean, if I would show you the table I'm sitting at right now, you guys would have a heart attack. My mother is keeping our kids for the week. And me and my husband came up to our other house up in Georgia, and we're doing nothing but working on cleaning companies and we recruit. Like, we were so excited. My friend asked me, he's like, so are you guys going to relax? I'm like, no, we're going to work. We're excited. We could work without interruption because, we have a 2-year-old. But don't start your day at the breakfast table. And I learned this the hard way. My 12-year-old, when he was probably, I don't know, I think he was like 8 or 9. We were just opening the organizing company, and he's like, Mom, you are always on your phone. So then he made a rule, or I think it was my 22-year-old made the rule where there was no phones allowed at the dinner table. So when your kids have to make that rule, you know, like, oh gosh, you know, I need to dial it back a little bit. So we still have that rule, and it's been years later, and it goes for everybody, even mom and dad and the kids. So it's a great rule to have. Next one, give whatever you're doing 100% of your attention. And this is critical. And the way I do this is by the way I organize my schedule. I have certain priorities that trump other obligations in my life. A great example is I'm in a BNI chapter. So BNI has my Thursday mornings. It doesn't matter what happens, that is priority. So organize your priorities. The way I do my schedule is a form of time blocking. And that way, whatever I'm doing is blocked out and I have 100% attention to that topic or business or area during that time. And a great one is, the last one is, give people the gift of your attention, right? Isn't it so awful when you're trying to talk to someone and they're on their phone and they're texting? So really give, and that is a lost gift right now. I have to say that is absolutely something that is going away, is give people the gift of your attention. It's something that I really learned doing the Marie Kondo KonMari certification, is to listen. That is actually one of the greatest gifts that I learned going through the Marie Kondo certification, was the ability to listen and really listen to someone without distraction and without interruption, whether they're physical or mental interruption. So remember, number 2 is be in the now. And this one, number 3, is take breaks. And I know this sounds funny and counterintuitive, but you want to take breaks because they say that they see a slump in decline if you work for more than 90 minutes straight. So you need to take a 15-minute break, whether that's get up, walk around. Don't switch tasks, right? Don't switch task. Taking a break means getting up, walking around, getting some water. But don't switch to a different task, because that's not taking a break. You want to take a break from working and give your brain a break. Switching task is continuing to work, but just on something else. So remember, take a break. We perform high, and it's down here, 90 minutes, 20 minutes, 90 minutes, 20 minutes. So you want to take a break about every 90 minutes for about 15 or 20 minutes, and you'll actually get more work done taking a break. I know it sounds a little funny, but it does work. And tip number 4 is schedule. Schedule everything. If you could see my calendar, it would blow your mind. And it's not that you have to live your life off of a schedule. It's just that it's nice to have it scheduled. And these are some of the things that people forget to schedule. And one of the biggest things that people forget to schedule, I learned, and I do it, is drive time. So if you're not realistic with your drive time, especially right now during the holidays, you are not going to be on time. You are not going to be on time. I schedule personal vacations in my phone months in advance. Like, we are already scheduling our summer vacation in July. And the reason for that is because if you don't schedule it, it will never happen. But if you schedule it, you will live your life around it, right? That way you get your vacation, you get your exercise time, you get your learning time. That's huge. I actually have one of the things on my list is for time is read, because I love to read. So again, scheduling that is super important. And personal growth. I actually also have that on my list because I'm in several groups along with CBF. I'm in Service Autopilot Academy, which is phenomenal. And then, you know, other groups that I'm in as well. You have to schedule time for personal growth because it's so important, because I'm a huge believer in, as if you're not growing, you're dying. Again, schedule. I am not a fan of the Apple. If you're an Apple phone user, I am not a fan of the Apple calendar. There is this calendar called Calendar 5. And it is a phenomenal calendar. I actually have like 6 Google calendars linked to it, probably more. And that way I never get double booked because I have my coaching calendar, the Root Recruit calendar. I have everything scheduled in there, and then I can never get double booked. And it's very streamlined, looks very nice. It's called Calendars 5. It's just a personal calendar I've used for years, and I love the way it works and the functionality. So number 5, and this one was the hardest one for me to learn, is to delegate. Who here is good at delegating? Anybody here? Because when I first started the organizing and cleaning business, I was awful. Being an organizer, I like everything's perfect, like perfect. And then I met Debbie Sardone, and she taught me that done was better than perfect, right? And when I learned that, it was like, we just grew. Like, I mean, because you can't do everything. And when you can learn to delegate, and that it doesn't have to be perfect, right? It just needs to be done. You will grow. Your company will explode. If you can learn that little trait, it will absolutely change your life. So work around your weaknesses. So I'm going to tell you right now, I suck at sales. I'm terrible. But I have a phenomenal sales team that work for us. And that is like, someone calls me, like a personal friend or another business owner, and they want a cleaning quote. And I'm like, well, I'm going to have Vera call you. I said, I don't do sales. And that's my weakness, and I know it. And so I delegate it out. So it's huge to learn to delegate. And this is a big one. Delegate tasks, the menial tasks. You don't have to delegate responsibilities if you're not ready to do that yet. And if you have a hard time delegating and letting go, and I did, delegate tasks, not responsibilities. And that will ease you into delegating. Delegating well so that you can use your time efficiently is the important part of a life lived well, right? We can't do everything. I'm just reading, Amanda just commented, I'm excited to say I'm getting pretty awesome at delegating. That is awesome. I kind of suck at sales too. Yeah, I'm terrible. And that's why everyone in my office is so much better in their role than I am. And that's why I hired them, right? We want to hire better, smarter people than us. And I just hired she's going to be customer service and a scheduler. And she specializes in hospitality and customer service. And she worked for the Ritz-Carlton, the Biltmore, and the Waldorf hotels. And she got laid off because of COVID and had to change her occupation. And she is phenomenal. She has brought us so many ideas, whether they're customer service ideas or internal ideas for the cleaners that they did in these hotels. I mean, I am so excited. I'm going to learn so much from her. Did I need her right now? No, I did not actually. But I saw the opportunity and I took it, and I wanted to grow. And so I jumped on the opportunity. And the key to, oh, hold on. I passed. Oh, I'm sorry. I jumped across the slides. So remember, delegate, delegate, delegate. That is tip number 5. So tip 6, and this is my favorite one, organize your space, right? Stuff in the way, stuff to be cared for. All this stuff impedes on our progress and demands our time. Whether papers are piling up in your office or out of place, items are messing up your home, decluttering your life will free you to do what is really important. Organizing your space. I cannot tell you how much time you will save by organizing your space. And if you ever need help organizing, just shoot me a private message. I go like off the wall. I could talk for days and hours about organizing your space. Can anybody guess on average how much time people waste every day due to disorganization? Can I get some guesses? Anybody got a guess? I'm going to wait for some guesses. Anybody guess how much time a day we waste due to disorganization? I'm going to see who can guess this. You would be amazed at how much time it is, how much time you lose a day. Now think of it. every time you lose your car keys, every time your kid can't find their backpack, every time you can't find your cell phone or your purse, or you know, your name tag if you have one, or every time you forget to defrost something for dinner. So if anybody can guess how much time a day we waste due to disorganization, it would blow your mind. It's actually 90 minutes a day we waste. 90. Now that's a statistic taken from NAPO, the National Association of Professional Organizers. 90 minutes a day. So there are 7 days in a week. So that's 300 or 630 minutes a week we waste a day, or I mean a week, each day due to disorganization. 90 minutes, an hour and a half. What would you do every day if you had an extra hour and a half? What would your business look like every day if you had an extra hour and a half? I mean, it's crazy. And that's one reason why I can get so much done also, is because my house is very, very tidy. It's also very, very minimal. It looks like a hotel room. But that's what I love. And what keeps me sane, right? We have all those things that kind of keep us sane. So that is tip 6, organize your space. And tip 7, right? Everyone thinks that multitasking is the key to everything, but it's actually the death of everything. Multitasking, it's actually impossible because your brain cannot work on 2 things at one time. It slows you down. You make mistakes. It stresses you out. Your memory will suffer because you won't retain it, right? You're not actually good at it. No one is good at it because it's actually impossible to do. Dampens creativity, and you're not able to give 100%. Multitasking is actually something that you can't do it. Like scientifically, your brain cannot concentrate on 2 things at one time. And they say that multitasking, switching from one task to another, actually takes you more time to accomplish those things that if you would have done them from start to finish or time blocked it. I'm a huge time blocker. So if I got 3 hours today to work on something, I'm going to work on it for 3 hours and then stop and then schedule the next block of time. Multitasking, they say that it takes you like 15 minutes to kind of switch your brain on and off to start the next task. So how many tasks a day are you switching on and off to? And multiply that by 15, and that would be the lost time that it's taking you to kind of switch from task to task. So multitasking is a no-no. I would love to teach you to time block instead of multitask. And tip 8, time wasters. I find myself doing this sometimes. Right? With the era of electronics, most of us are likely to get distracted. So know what distracts you. Know your weakness. Don't lie to yourself. Know your weakness. Know what it is. Know if it's emails. Every time an email pops up, I got to stop and look at it. Again, you're switching tasks. That's multitasking. Time block it. Check your emails at set times a day. Facebook is a never-ending hole. And I only try to go on the groups and not actually go on my Facebook profile because I get lost down a rabbit hole of unimportant content is a nice way to say it. Candy Crush. Well, that was popular when I made this because this presentation is like a year old. Twitter, the internet, video games, if you guys play any games. So just know what your time wasters are and be true to yourself and be real and make sure that you try to cut those out of your life. A good thing that I do is the social media alerts on my phone are not actually on. So they don't ding my phone. My phone stays on vibrate and silent. Actually, it doesn't vibrate. It's on silent completely all the time. So it can't distract me. We have people in the office covering from 7 a.m. to 7 p.m. So I'm not going to miss a client call. I'm not going to miss a client email in that time frame. And if it's after that time frame, it's not business hours. So my phone actually stays completely silent, doesn't vibrate, doesn't ring ever at all. And that actually really helps with distractions. So that is tip number 8, time wasters. And tip 9, and I see this with so many people, procrastination, right? Do it now. We tend to put off the things that only take a few minutes until we become overwhelmed and become paralyzed by the thought of the task. And I see this so much with residential organizing in our company, and even in coaching. I see this all the time, is that it's the paralyzing feeling is they just don't do anything because they don't know where to start. There's so many things to do. They don't know which one to pick or which one to implement. And it just becomes kind of paralyzing. And that's where the procrastination comes into. Or it's like this feeling of like you're drowning in a sea of work, and you feel like as all the work that you do and all the time you put in, you can never kind of get that overwhelming, heavy, drowning feeling off of you. So we see this all the time. I see it whether we're coaching, I'm coaching CBF people, CBF community, or if we're just coaching in our organizing business. This is a huge one. Learn that you are the only one that is to blame for your procrastination. Now, this is also being really true to yourself. You don't blame your employees or your boss if you have one, or your spouse, or the environment, or your coworker, or even COVID. Like, everyone is so happy for 2020 to get over. And also I'm kind of looking forward to it because everything's closed. But at the same time, it has been an amazing year for our cleaning company. I mean, absolutely phenomenal. We have grown like crazy. So, try not to blame your surroundings. You want to be positive, stay positive. You don't want to be a victim. You want to be a victor. And I learned that from Art the other day. So you want to be positive and, not be the victim, because all that's going to do is draw more negativity to your life. And make sure you're surrounding your people or yourself by the right people. My favorite saying is, you are the average of the 5 people, or the sum of the 5 people you spend the most time with. The average. When I heard that like 5 or 6 years ago, I said, oh my gosh, I got to reevaluate who my friends are. And I know that sounds mean, and I'm still friends with them, but I'm just not as close because I didn't want to be the average of that. And then the last tip on this procrastination one is ask for help. We tend to put it off, and because I do so much professional organizing, you see a lot of shame and a lot of guilt that people have because of how far they let things go. And I do have to tell you that you are not the worst. Like, this is so common, and it's just teaching yourself the habit of how to do these things. So don't feel ashamed or guilty that you've put things off. Asking for help is actually one of the best things that you can do for yourself. And, there are organizers everywhere, wherever you live. And if you just need some tips, I would love to just to chat. And my favorite tip is number 10, say no. And this is hard. This is very hard. There are some books out there. My husband's sitting next to me, and he has a really hard time with this one. Learning how to say no, right? It's easy in today's society to just say yes to too much. I found myself doing this as a mom. Every sport event, every school event, every birthday party, it becomes, everything was a yes. And then you're not being good to yourself. So how can you be a good parent? Takes twice the time and stress to back out, right? How many times have we said yes to something and then had to back out of it and felt super guilty, super stressed out, the anxiety for days of having to tell your friend or your family or even a client that you have to back out, or you can't do it. So saying no right off the bat would have saved you all that stress and anxiety. Being eager to please everyone can be dangerous. That is huge. I see it often. Especially a lot of us who open cleaning companies are people pleasers. That's why we started cleaning. We love to help. But it can also be dangerous to us because we have to learn to say no to certain things. Every time we say yes to something, we're saying no to something else. And that is huge. And think about it. Every time we are saying yes to something, we are saying no to something else. So if you're saying yes to something you're not that excited or committed about, what could you potentially be saying no to in the future that you didn't, maybe it's growing your cleaning company. Maybe it's personal growth. Maybe it was exercising. Maybe it was a school event. So really, really think about these things when you start committing to stuff. And again, we want to start the new year out right and great. And appreciate your own limits. We all have limits. Our time is limited, our energy, our money, you name it, there's a limit on it. And the little thing about what part of no don't you understand, the N or the O, that was just kind of a joke. But so those were my 10 tips to start your new year, to start it right. Does anybody have their New Year's resolution is to get organized or to manage their time? If you do, I would love to chat with you. Feel free to shoot me a message or put it down here in the comments. I am a huge organizing fan. Again, certified Marie Kondo or KonMari consultant. I just earned my gold status, so exciting. I think there's only one other person in Florida that's gold status KonMari consultant. So have organizing in that background. And then I'm also a certified time management coach. So I love to help people manage their time. That's how I learned to manage my own time. And I got that certification to help really just help my organizing skill. Because again, managing time is organizing it. You just can't see it. So it's a different approach, same approach, just a little different. So I hope these were great tips. I hope that you guys, I'm going to stop sharing my screen. I hope you guys have a great New Year's. It's almost 8 o'clock. And work on those New Year's goals, those New Year's resolutions. We really want to start 2021 off great. It's going to be, like Debbie says, a cleaning economic boom, right? But we the owners have to get ourselves organized and ready for that, so that we can focus on our cleaning company, but we can also be healthy and in the right frame of mind to run everything. If you guys have any questions or want to talk about organizing or organizing your time, I would love to talk. Again, I get a little crazy. You can ask Nicole. She needed help organizing her son's room. And I just go off the deep end with organizing. But yeah, if you guys have any questions or comments, I'm back. So I took a break for a couple weeks, spent some time with my family, but you will see me back on Facebook doing more lives and covering some topics. If you want to hear some other topics about whether it's hiring, organizing, any part of organizing, time, filing systems, you name it, let me know and I'll create some content and put it up here on Facebook Live. I'll see you guys in 2021. I'll see you next year.